Hey, what's up, witches? It's me, Luna, here for an unboxing. And if you're wondering why my face looks funny, I just uploaded a vlog to tell you what happened. So I won't tell you again. Go check out the vlog if you want to know how I got maimed. Anyhow, I'm here for an unboxing today. It's been a while, and pardon me, there's a lot of smoke and pollen in the air today, so I apologize in advance. But I am pushing ahead to reclaim some joy in the things that I do and have been doing for 5.5 years now. And so thanks for coming along for the ride. Today, I have a Lisa Hunt deck, and I really like this. I have been sort of focusing on authors and things since I'm not, buying shit tons of decks anymore. At 524, yeah, time to slow down. Anyhow, I'm finding that I'm going back to decks and authors that I really have liked, and sort of filling in their decks. And Lisa Hunt is one of them. I have this was the first one I got, which was a gift from Delilah Mendoza. So blessings to you, as always. The gift decks that I've received, I put it in the book so that I can send you blessings every time I use the deck. The thing I love about Lisa Hunt decks is that each and every card, whatever the theme of the deck is, each and every card has a specific thing that you're going to learn about. The Ghosts and Spirits one talks about ghosts and spirits from all kinds of cultures. I have Fairy Tale Lenormand. Lisa Hunt did the artwork for this. Arwen Lynch did the writing, probably because it's a Lenormand. Pardon. And I just bought this one, so I'm going to shoot this one next, probably. Anyway, this is Lisa Hunt and DJ Conway. This is a deck from way back in 2007. So I'm looking to fill out my Lisa Hunt decks. There are two more that I want to get. One is the Winged Enchantment Tarot, and the other one is called the Pastoral Tarot. So there's two more Lisa Hunt ones that I want. Her art style is delicate and ethereal and beautiful. And so here we go. Anyway, this is US Games. In these, I love this. They have the bigger boxes like the Fyodor Pavlov and the Mind's Eye. But I love, instead of those little cutouts like that, that's just such a wonderful feature. Okay, when we hear the words "once upon a time," we are magically transported to a faraway land of enchantment, a timeless realm of wondrous fantasies and infinite possibilities. Presenting mystical tales from around the world, Fairy Tale Tarot invites you to embrace the universal wisdom shared by enduring characters and timeless archetypes. Their struggles, successes, and growth mirror our own experiences and teach us profound life lessons. When we see ourselves in the cards, we establish a greater awareness of ourselves. Includes 78 cards and a 156-page illustrated guidebook. And as I said, this is brandish new in 2024. 2025 when I'm shooting this. Look at that pretty color. It's more like a periwinkle purpley blue. Lavender blue, maybe you'd call it. All right, take a look at the book. Nice little chunky little book. Cardstock is US Games cardstock. Thank the gods for that. A little bit thicker. I was working with, which one this morning? Fantastical Creatures. And the deck itself is like, like this, very thin. So these are slightly thicker, but not too thick. Anyway, let's get in here. I've always felt at home in the land of fairy tales. Wait, let's go to about the author first. And there she is. Hi, Lisa. That's my name, too. Lisa Hunt has always loved fairy tales and has spent many years studying stories from around the world. She is the creator, illustrator of many well-known divinatory decks, including Fairy Tale Lenormand deck, Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, Pastoral Tarot, Fantastical Creatures Tarot, and Winged Enchantment Oracle. Oh, that's an oracle. Okay. All published by U.S. Game Systems, Inc. She affectionately calls her home Fairy Tale Corners and lives in Boca Raton, Florida with her husband Court, daughter Kyra, and their cats. Visit her at lisahuntart.com. And on Facebook, Lisa Hunt Art, and same on Instagram. All right. I have always felt at home in the land of fairy tales. I just love the look and feel of the magical tomes that fill my library, and I never tire of reading them. I knew from the beginning that I wanted the Fairy Tale Tarot to include some well-known fairy tales as well as some obscure oral traditions. I also wanted to share tales from around the world to demonstrate the universal power of these stories and how they are an integral part of our world heritage. Choosing 78 stories from a wealth of narratives posed a tremendous challenge, I'm sure. Ultimately, I relied on my intuition, picking stories that felt right for a particular card and appealed to my sensibilities. That doesn't mean one was more deserving for inclusion than another, but it was important for me to present a deck that captured a rich variety of tales while preserving the integrity of the card meanings. Fairy tales have become so ingrained in our collective psyche that we don't necessarily recognize them as fixtures in cultural literacy and everyday life. Not only have they inspired filmmakers, writers, artists, and people everywhere, they've become part of our everyday language. We carry these stories with us and refer to the many archetypes without necessarily being aware of it. We see pieces of our lives in the characters and stories, with their losses and victories often echoing our own. When we hear the words "once upon a time," we're magically transported to worlds inhabited by giants, talking animals, dragons, castles, ogres, shapeshifters, princes, princesses, and all manner of fantastical beings. Within this land of enchantment, we enter the timeless sphere of the supernatural, grounded in themes and motifs that we can relate to. All right, so we go on about fairy tales. Basic themes found in fairy tales: rags to riches, transforming beasts, animal helpers, and other manifestations of the fantastic resonate with humanity on a collective level. Talk about poetic language, yes, stories that speak to our subconscious and our shadow side. Talking about often repressed drives are vividly portrayed in these tales. They can manifest themselves as monsters or opposing forces. One mission of the fairy tale is to force us to confront these dark entities residing in our psyche. Absolutely. Fairy tales inspired the creative spirit. Okay, and then we're straight into the majors. So what we have here is a title, what the traditional title is, if it's been changed, the story that she's quoting, I guess, the culture it comes from, keywords. Then we have symbols and meaning, and that's it. So I do love, she really delivers. She delivers on the things that she promises. And from the Ghosts and Spirits, every single deck or every single card illustrates a specific story, and then she tells you that story in the book. So I do love her stuff. And then we look at the we start the suits with the courts, and she puts queen at the top and then king, and same thing, we get the story, the culture, keywords, and then the symbols and meaning. So we start with the courts, and then we go from ace through 10 for the cards. Let me see here. At the end, we do have readings. We've got, okay, there we go, card reflections. Every single card in this deck has its own unique story to tell. The cards are conducive to narrative delivery and can help activate the imagination in a manner that delivers us from the mundane and engages us on a deeper level of self-reflection. And I love that, when you have a tarot deck that is going to draw on these fairy tales, many, many, many of which I'm sure are deeply embedded in our psyches, it's just going to make those more connections for you personally from the card that you're looking at, the situation you're asking about, and then you connect it to this particular story, and that gives you more, it gives your subconscious more of a vocabulary to converse with you. Okay, Telling a story, the one card reflection. There's example 1, justice. Example 2, 4 of wands. And she gives a thing here. Pretend you're the goose girl talking to Falada, the horse's head mounted on the wall. And so she gives an example there. The motif of 3 spread. I love reading triplets. We get past events, present situation, and future. Very easy. And then keys to the kingdom spread. The past, present, possible obstacle. 4 is current goals, then possible obstacles, steps needed to overcome and reach the goal, and then a summation. Okay. Let's look at the cards. Okay, so we see this beautiful key motif on the back. And again, you know, I like the swirling colors, and she just has such a delicate style. All right, now, decisions to make. I might go along with the book so I can tell you what each one of these fairy tales is. I might not. Let's see how long that'll take me. Okay, so this is instantly recognizable. We have the Fool, which is renamed as Innocence, and we have Little Red Riding Hood going innocently through the forest with the wolf behind her, creeping along. And look at the faces and the figures in the trees. There's a lot of attention to detail. I'll tell you one thing I would like to know, maybe, you know, along with the bio of the artist index, is what format did they use? How big are these paintings that they made? Because this is so full of detail that it's not going to be a teeny tiny one, I'm quite sure. Then we have the Thunder Dragon is the story. It's Chinese. Look at that. So opening a box, look at the light. She has such a mastery of light and shadow. Okay. The High Priestess is renamed the Sorceress, and the story is the Lake Maiden, and that's Welsh. Beautiful. We have the Fairy Godmother. Is this Cinderella? Probably. Yes, Cinderella. So she's the Empress. How interesting, because you think of the Empress as, you know, a younger, fertile woman, usually shown pregnant. So, but we've got the Fairy Godmother here, which is an older woman, but she really is the Empress because she bestows, she brings all good fortune and abundance, and that's really cool. I like the way the numbers are up here with the little wings kind of around them. It's beautiful. I love that there are no borders. The Emperor is the Wise Old Man, and the story is Brewery of Eggshells. Fascinating. And that's Celtic. Then we have, the Hierophant is called the Mentor, and it's Puss in Boots, obviously, which is German. The Lovers is Jorinda and Joringel. It's German. The Chariot, 1001 Nights, got to be the Enchanted Horse, Arabian Nights. Yes. So it's the story is the Enchanted Horse. The book is the Arabian Nights. And I have a copy of a volume that's a limited edition that my dear, dear departed Uncle Fred gave me, that has these beautiful etching plates or lithographed, not sure which. And there's a gorgeous image of this flying horse. Anyway, look at the dragon here. Courage is strength. And the story is Little 1 Inch. And it's Japanese. Japanese fairy tales are hilarious, you guys. I have a book of Japanese folk tales. And we are so used to stories that, you know, tell us the story and then wrap everything up and the good guy wins and we get a moral and all that stuff. Japanese fairy tales just lay out a sequence of events and then it's like, and that's what happened. That's it. So no moral. Okay. The Hermit is the Hermit, and this is the Wood Fairy from Czechoslovakia. I'm Slovakian. Okay, then the Wheel is 12 Dancing Princesses, German. Just beautiful. You can so clearly see what's going on. This is the Goose Girl. And this one's called Entrapment. Wow. So, Justice, Hanged Man is Entrapment. Interesting. And that's Rapunzel, obviously. And then the next one, Death is Transformation, and it's Beauty and the Beast. Wow. Which, of course, is French. And then Temperance is Temperance, the Water of Life, a Spanish tale. I love the way the rocks look like their faces. She really adds so many little interesting touches, and the drawings are impactful. You can see what's going on in faces, light and shadow again, but still very delicate. Very nice balance there. Okay, and then Devil is called Temptation, and the story is Bluebeard. Deception is the Emperor's New Clothes. Oh, goodness, that's the Devil. No, wait. The Devil is Temptation. This is the Tower, is Deception. Really? That's fascinating. The keywords she gives are disaster, breaking illusions, and revelation. Okay. Okay. I like it. She hasn't changed things just for the sake of changing them, you know? Here's the star, and the story is the Star Maiden, and it's Native American. The moon. It's full moon tonight as I'm shooting this on June 10th. And this is Sleeping Beauty, which is French. You can see the vines growing in the window. Then we have the sun, and the story is the Three Animal Kings from Italy. Judgment is called Redemption, and it just says European. And then, oh, I love this. The World card is called Happily Ever After. The story is The Castle, and the culture is universal. I love it. All right, I might go a little bit quicker here. Okay, now, Queen of Cups, Sealskin, it's Irish. Tale of the Selkie, and you could tell immediately, you know, I'm not only because of the titles down below, but that the minors don't have the symbol above with the Roman numerals. Okay, the king is the golden-headed fish, it's Asian. Princess is the Little Mermaid, European. And the princess, so we go queen, king, prince, and princess. Oh, wait, no, princess and prince. The prince is the Frog Prince. And there he sits. Now we go to Ace of Cups, the Snake Prince in India. Brother and sister, German is the two. The three is Little Ida's Flowers, it's Danish. The four, Why the Sea Moans, Brazilian. Ooh. I can't tell what that is. How interesting. The five is Urashima and the Turtle, which is Japanese. The 6 is the nightingale. It's Danish. The 7, the glass mountain, Polish. You know, I keep thinking, should I keep reading these, what the fairy tales are? But I'm going to, because if I just look at the picture, I'm not going to necessarily know what it is. And, you know, and then again, I may go on a little while and get tired of it. So we'll see what happens. The fisherman and his wife, which is German. This is the mermaid and the boy, Laplander. 9 of cups is the girl fish. And whoops. Oh, no, that's the 10. The 10 is the girl fish in Spanish, which is Spanish. And then we are into the Queen of Swords. The tongue-cut sparrow is Japanese. Wow. How Raven brought light to the world. And you know, it really is fascinating, like when you read some of the Japanese folk tales or fairy tales, and they're they can be very foreign feeling because we didn't grow up with those. And it would be a fascinating study to see how the fairy tales we grow up with really shape our subconscious and shape the paradigms that we carry, and how, you know, the very different cultural tales make for a whole different mindset. This is how Raven brought light to the world. That's Inuit. The princess is Thumbelina, Danish. The prince is the wild swans, which is also Danish. Then we have the Ace of Swords, Cup of Rushes, English. The 2 is Snow Daughter and Fire Sun, which is Russian. Ooh, that's gorgeous. You know, all the rest have these very blue, lavendery, shadowy, dreamlike colors, and then boom, you get this red. I like it. The 3 of Swords is the little match girl in Danish. Here's the 4, the white doe, French. Looks like Dear Woman. 5 of Swords, the fairies of the mountain of the moon. And I think it's Dear Lady. If you have not watched Reservation Dogs, I think it's Hulu, and you should watch that series. It's amazing. Anyhow, Fairies of the Mountain of the Moon is Hindu. That's the 5. The 6 is Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, of course. So there are more fairy tales here that I don't know than I do know, and I love it. That's Billy Goat's Gruff, Norwegian. That's very recognizable. Here's the 8 of Swords. Ay, ay, ay. She's puking up reptiles, you guys. Diamonds and Toads. This is French. Here's the 9, which is the Moss Green Princess, African. And the 10 is the Flying Trunk, which is Danish. Then into Wands, we have the Queen of Wands, the White Cat, which is French. The King is Aladdin, Arabian Nights, Mideast and Central Asia. Princess of Wands is Tatterhood, which is Norwegian. How interesting. Then the Prince is Dick Whittington and his cat, which is English. The Ace is How Coyotes Stole Fire, which is Native American. I wish they could identify more like plains or something, you know, because Native American is a very, very broad umbrella. 2 of Wands, City Mouse, Country Mouse, which is Romanian and Greek. That's a familiar story to me. The 3 of Wands is Hockley and the Dwarves, which is Chinese. The 4 is Jack and the Beanstalk, English. The 5, the Snow Queen, ooh, European. The 6 is the Prince and the Dragon, and it's Serbian. The 7 is Hansel and Gretel, German. Yes, look at that penultimate moment when she shoves the witch into the oven. The 8 is the 3 princes and their beasts, and that is Lithuanian. The 9 is the flying ship, Russian. Ooh. And the 10 is Rumpelstiltskin, German. I'm sure there were also cases where, one fairy tale could provide the meanings for several cards. So I really appreciate the effort of finding a unique story for each card. Here's the Queen of Pentacles, Canadian. She is the Summer Queen. And then we have the Frost King, Russian, for the King of Pentacles. Princess and the Pea, everybody knows that story, I think. Danish. It looks so familiar. It looks like the picture that was in the book that I had as a little kid. Wow. The Prince of Pentacles is Jack the Giant Killer. So that's Jack and the Beanstalk too. I just got done saying she didn't use any fairy tale twice. This is German. Well, that's 1 out of 78. Ace of Pentacles is the Elves and the Shoemaker, which is German. I love the moon. The 2 is Ricky of the Tuft, and it's French. The 3 is the 3 Little Pigs, European. 4 of Pentacles. We have the Tinderbox, German. The 5 is the 3 Bears. Yes, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, German. So many German fairy tales. I just started watching the series called Grimm last night. We'll see if I continue, but interesting. Kahukura and the Fairy Fisherman. And this is Maori. Wow. She really dove deep. Here's 7 of Pentacles is the Golden Goose, and that's German. The 8 of Pentacles is the Brave Little Tailor, which is German. Dropping a rock down in this guy's mouth or something? I don't know. The 9 is the Boy and the Dancing Fairy. And the 10 is East of the Sun, West of the Moon, and that's Scandinavian. Okay, let's see if my charcoal is still hot. I had lit one for my morning ritual, and it was still kind of going when I put the new one in there, so it lit itself. Hey, let's give this a blessing. I find myself not remembering how to do this video making stuff here. We'll get our sage lit. I'm very interested to know how you feel about Lisa Hunt's decks. Do you have them? Do you use them? She definitely adds a new dimension. So I will say that maybe not beginner decks, because I have noticed, like with the Ghosts and Spirits, the cards do have nuances that are different from the traditional. So it might not be a beginner deck, but what a resource. By Air and Fire. May you be purified and charged. Pardon me, so much gunk in the air. Ooh, there was a saltwater bubble. By Water and Earth. May you be blessed and made whole. Is that too? And by the sound of the bell. May the spirit awaken. Oops. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, thank you so much for being with me every single day. Thank you for being with me for this unboxing, and for the readings. Okay, I just saw, maybe that was my ponytail. Could have sworn I saw somebody go by the door, but I think it was my ponytail. I offer you fresh water. I offer you the fire of Azrael. Thank you for seeing me through these very interesting times. Chinese curse. May the spirit of divination come into this deck. All right. I'm not anticipating any issues with shuffling because US Games is awesome. They are stiffer than usual, and I'm going to try them face up. Definitely a better shuffle face up. I could see, even just looking at them, that there's a lip that sticks up. And when you have that lip, they tend to shuffle better with that lip facing down, is what I've come to discover. Come on now. I'm not doing 7 shuffles. I want to show you something, though. Like, for instance, here. No, not that one. Let's go here. See the difference? Put them side by side like that. These cards are just that much thinner. All right, let's do a 6-card reading here. Do our test drive, and of course, I just want to know what we as the collective need to know right now. Show us the fairy tales. Destiny's cling so bad. Show us the fairy tales that will trigger our deep psyche into the wisdom that we already carry in these deeply confusing and scary times. Okay, they're telling me that's all. We have the 9 of Cups, the 2 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, the 6 of Wands, the 10 of Cups, and the 2 of Cups. How interesting. I've been getting aces and 9s and 10s together. So when I get a lot, readings where there's a lot of, 9s and 10s, and then I've got aces, it says something is culminating, something is coming to its end point, and something new is already coming in. Let me do an intuitive first. 9 of Cups is the wish card. What is it that we want? What do we want out of this? When we're so focused on the terror that's being visited on us, we forget. We can get so tied up in the present moment and in fear brain that we can't see ahead, and we can't look ahead. We can't even imagine ahead. And so this 9 of Cups to me is saying we must constantly be imagining what it is that we want to replace this mess with, thinking of the things that were working before that need to come back, the things that weren't working that need to be changed. What is it that we want now? 2 of Pentacles can talk about the juggling of resources, having to make decisions with money. 5 of Swords talks about abuse of power. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed it does. But then we've got 6 of Wands and 10 of Cups. We have victory and the culmination of joy and community. And down at the bottom, we have 2 of Cups, which is about relationships. So, kind of the same message we've been getting for a while now, which is to pull the people that you love close to you, share your resources, care for each other, remember what's important. Okay, let's go to the book. Okay, 9 of Cups. This is The Mermaid and the Boy. The story is Laplander. The keywords: reaching goals, attaining happiness. Symbols and meaning. The mermaid swims between the unconscious below and the consciousness on the surface. The golden cups are arranged in order and rotate with the movement of the stars, the water, and the emotional bliss that is about to be experienced. The fish represent pleasant thoughts. The bear, lion, and bee are all representative of animal energies. Gosh, where are they? A bear, a lion, and a bee? Really? I see the fish. I see somebody playing a violin. I see a bee. I see the bee. Okay, I won't go any farther. They stand for the libido and impulses necessary to push onward. The passion that we need in order to move forward, the motivation. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking to rekindle here. The roots of the tree contain spirals of continuation and connect the underworld with the upper world. The woman playing the violin represents creative inspiration. The moon has the strength to affect the movement of the waters and unconscious influences. Is that the moon down there? I guess so. The castle symbolizes happiness and achievement. The faces in the rock are spirits serving as guides. We have shed the last vestiges of emotional turmoil and are now on the path toward reaching our objectives. We enjoy the ride as we feel the exhilaration of our goals feeding into our emotional well-being. We feel a keen sense of personal accomplishment and bask in the multitudinous blessings that are finally making themselves visible. So we don't get the story itself. We get the story mentioned, and then we get all of the symbols named. And truthfully, if I had to have it one way or the other, I'll take it the way she's done it, because this is a deck that's supposed to be read with, and you need to understand the symbols, whether you know that whole story, story's context or not. Okay, so we are coming out of that emotional turmoil and starting to reach towards our goals now and what it is we want to achieve. The Two of Pentacles is Ricky of the Tuft, French, balancing between two choices. Ricky's cloak is red, vibrant, and passionate. The princess is adorned in floral patterns mirroring her desires. The blue reflects her somber disposition. She wears a ruby necklace suggesting love. I mean, can you see that? I can't. It hangs way down low. Suggesting love, beauty, passion, and hidden powers. The scene is saturated by warm golden light. It is a place of exchanging humilities and budding love. Exchanging humilities. How interesting. The ferns exemplify potential for renewal. The angel trumpet vine resembles wedding bells and is a harbinger of bliss. The angel trumpet. Okay, those are the flowers. Negotiations may be at hand. You may find yourself in a situation where you may have to compromise or sacrifice in order to achieve greater balance. But by making the adjustments, you can actually contribute to a more symbiotic situation that leads to long-lasting harmony. So notice that we have two twos here. So that kind of becomes significant. Twos talking about decisions and back and forthing. So this is about resource and what we're sharing and what we're keeping and what we're giving. All right, Five of Swords. The fairies of the mountain of the moon. And this is Hindu. Loss, betrayal, disruptive change. The full moon reveals the nocturnal mysteries of the fairies. It's so beautiful. The red panda there is an animal that sees past illusion with its keen eyesight and is associated with shamanism. The swords are lined in front of the somber fairy. Her colors slowly fade into a patchwork of leaves and other organic elements as grief paralyzes her being. The scattered leaves exemplify the sadness that prevails. A patch of green, an emblem of nature and vitality, reminds us that there is an opportunity for renewal despite unfavorable circumstances. There's the patch of green. Conflicts reveal themselves as an unforeseen change that forces you to address issues you may have been ignoring. Identify the source of contention and deal with it in a thoughtful manner. In order to offset the pain associated with heartache, betrayal, or dissatisfaction, it is important to value this time as a necessary transition before growth can occur. So, loss, betrayal, disruptive change. Okay, and I like that the first paragraph of the symbols and meaning is all the symbols, and then the meaning is very concise paragraph, and that there are keywords. Well done. All right, Six of Wands. Oops. Do we have, no, Cups came first. Okay. Here we go. All right, Six of Wands is the Prince and the Dragon, and it's Serbian. Keywords are victory, success, triumph. So we've got like this back and forth thing here, and you know, this really is speaking to me about shared resources and mutual aid, helping each other out when we need it. And the Five of Swords here talking about that betrayal, but really processing through these things so that we can move through, and what we move through to is victory. Dragons can serve as creatures that test the will of a mortal. The lad wears a red tunic symbolic of power, lust, and passion. His quiver, associated with hunting, is loaded with illuminating arrows, wands that suggest arrows/wands that suggest victory is inevitable. The princess wears a green cape. She is one with nature and is effective in directing energies for positive gain. There is fog obscuring the surface of the water, thus preventing irrational thoughts of the subconscious from interfering with the determination of the conscious mind. Okay, there's fog obscuring water, prevents irrational thoughts from bubbling up from the subconscious. I love that. The ivy signifies renewal as it climbs the ancient oak tree. Victory is at hand. A balance of proactive determination and calm resolve results in triumphant success. A period of blending harmonies will follow as you fully realize the far-reaching effects of your achievements. Now, interesting that this comes between the twos of decision, of you know, what are you going to do? What can I do? What on all this stuff? And it says here a balance of proactive determination and calm resolve. The outgoing, the indwelling. The vlog that I just uploaded, I used the Kantaji Oracle, and there was a card that talked about that very thing. So theme of the day is that balance point and the give and take. All right. And then we've got 10 of Cups. Oops. Okay. 10 of Cups is the girl fish, which is Spanish. Peace, dreams fulfilled. Swirling bubbles dominate the scene with their energetic presence. The mermaid's flowing hair is a reflection of their independence and freedom. The tails and organic coverings are reminders of the ever-moving waters of the unconscious mind. The crown is the supreme acquisition. It symbolizes power, sovereignty, and the ability to remain connected with the different aspects of the psyche. Pardon me. The fish signify potential emotional wealth and prosperity. Their attentions are directed on the found treasure of the upper world, a connection with higher spiritual awareness that will ensure overall balance, security, and inner and outer happiness. Let me go back here again. Peace, dreams fulfilled. We have reached our goals and can now revel in the contentment of family, friends, and the profound effects of love. Happiness now dominates our being and has brought about a sense of wholeness. This is a time to share those good feelings with others and embrace all the positive energy that encompasses you. So look at this. Victory and complete victory. Coming back into, you know, the love of family and community. So this abuse of power stuff is just, we're moving through this. And it feels like in this reading that it's not taking deep root because we're not going to let it. Because that's not who we are. And then the Two of Cups at the end. Our brother and sister, the culture is German. Keywords are give and take and loyalty. The animal-human relationship has a significant role in this tale. The young girl represents the rational component directed more by intellectual consideration than innate survival. The animal represents a deeper part of consciousness where instinct and drive reign. The basket of apples symbolizes love. The flower garland on the girl's head is emblematic of love and transformation. Her dress is covered with flower patterns representing the creative life and the willingness to grow. The faces in the trees are the souls of the forest. The 3 mushrooms on the tree have magical connotations. The spider web is an auspicious sign. Where's the spider web? There it is, over there. Yeah, everything that she names. The multicolored flowers symbolize the gamut of emotion, and the ferns evoke feelings of solitude. The puddle is the unconscious. The brook in the background is emotional energy. I guess that's the brook coming down here. There's a puddle. And the twin tree symbolizes compromise. Okay, the trunk splits. Love can be an emotional force that activates strong will, great purpose, creativity, and all manner of positive expression. But if a relationship grows burdensome and breeds discord, it's time to assess the dynamic and make adjustments. The love of one should feed the love of the other. If there is balance in a relationship, then other areas of your emotional life will benefit as well. So let me see here. Give and take and loyalty. So we go through this process, and one of the things that could happen is that some relationships could be falling away. And then some are staying. And this is talking about looking at the relationships that we have and making sure that there is balance, making sure that we are allowing our animal nature and our intuition to function, but in tandem and in balance with the intellectual and the objective. But I love that it shows her feeding. And, this also talks about how we do have to feed and care for those instincts and, the fears, the emotions, all the stuff of our animal nature that comes welling up needs to be cared for. It's like your inner child, parenting your inner child. But then we do this in the context of our greater community as we care for each other and we move through these really seriously trying times. The loyalty, I like that vibe of loyalty, that we stick together. All right, you guys, what do you think? We have 3 cups. Definitely we're in a lot of emotional stuff, and then 1 each of Pentacles, Wands, and Swords. Let's get a major. See what our first major is going to be. There's the Ace of Cups. Like 3 days in a row, I've gotten that in a reading. There's 5 of Wands, Pentacles, the Chariot. Okay. My gosh, the repeats lately are really something that lets you know that things are in sync. Okay, so this is the Enchanted Horse, Arabian Nights, Middle Eastern, Central Asian. Keywords are deliberate actions and charging forth. The flying white horse is pure movement and energy. Its exalted position carries its passengers to new adventures. The 3 braids of the tail define different aspects of the psyche: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. The dragon in the clouds symbolizes supernatural powers and higher consciousness. The palace and towers are the sacred structures of knowledge and wisdom. But one must follow the mountain pass before claiming the prizes within. The face in the mountain suggests the difficulty of navigating through different levels of the psyche before achieving wholeness. This is the time to spread your wings and take decisive action. By letting go of an inflexible ego, we can overcome the fear of change and embrace new challenges with confidence. Wow. The employment of focus and discipline will be imperative as you travel toward new vistas emerging from the horizon. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. Remain fixed on your goals, fixed on the goals. What is it we want to achieve? How are we going to get there? And we're going to get there together. We're going to get there in balance. We have victory ahead of us, you guys. Oy, keep on keeping on. All right. Let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what you think of the reading. Hopefully, I'll be posting again soon. We'll see. Until then, this is Luna. Mwah. Blessed be.